welcome to Texas Football Talk. I'm your host, Jeremy Lockby, once again joined by my brother Clint. In this episode, a big weekend for 22-23 recruiting, as well as the Longhorns hosting Super Regional. How you doing, brother?
Hey, pretty good, man. Like you said, it's really exciting weekend there on the 40 acres, man. Baseball is playing, obviously, University of South Florida Bulls in the Super Regionals. Looks like Ty Man's going to get the start, followed by, number 2 and number 3. It looks like they're going to go with the original three-man start that they were in the regular season. Looks like pool parties are back, man. It looks like we got posting some big football recruits as well as some big basketball recruits this weekend, man. So keep your head on a swivel, man. Keep yourself locked into whatever social media site that you follow, Twitter. If you're following some of these insider websites, 247 or Inside Texas, man, I'd stay on them all weekend, man. We'll kind of see what happens there. I guess over under as far as commits go, I'm me and Jeremy talked about this a little bit earlier, and I think I could see probably one commit coming out this weekend. Hopefully it's offensive lineman, but I think it's going to be on the defensive side of the ball, and that's kind of where things stand at this particular point, man. Your thoughts on this weekend, man, the baseball team, and where we're looking as far as recruits, man?
Oh, fired up, man. Again, like you talked about, got Ty Madden leading off on Saturday night, and then Tristan Stevens following him up on Sunday. Hopefully we don't have to play that Monday game. Hopefully we win the first 2 games from South Florida, sweep this series, get a little rest to be able to set that rotation up to go possibly win a national championship there in Omaha. I think we got one of the top 2 teams in the country. I said this on our last podcast. I think it's going to be Texas and Arkansas battling it out on either side of the bracket to play in that national championship series. Hit the nail on the head, man. This when you sent out a little tweet a little bit earlier, this list continues to grow. When I first sent you a list 2 weeks ago, I think it had 15 names for this 11-12 weekend. And I told you, I said, I don't think I can amend it and send it to you, because every time I do, somebody comes and adds their name to the list. So it's an exciting time. Pool party's back. Again, got top-level basketball recruits coming in, and Arterio Morris and Kajani Wright. So it's a heck of a time to recruit on the football and basketball team, and you got nothing but great things to show them as the baseball team contends for a run in Omaha this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's big, man, is that you're going to have the excitement in and around the school. At this particular point of the year, school's out, everything's graduation's, been done. Everything's kind of done around the school at this particular point, but you still have that excitement in the program. Obviously it looks like some beautiful weather. So let's get into, man, some of these official and unofficial visitors, man. So obviously it's a big weekend for both 22 and 23, more 23 this weekend, but do got some big names in the 22 class. Followed by, obviously next weekend on the 18th, you have a big 22 class, followed by the 25th, another big 22 class of officials coming in. So Cole Hudson out of Frisco, an offensive lineman, and Anthony Jones out of Liberty. Big one for me, man, is probably going to be Sebastian Cheeks out of Evanston, Illinois Township. It sounds like that's a dogfight between probably looks like Notre Dame and in Texas. And it would not surprise me if he's seen what he wanted to see as far as the program goes, both from the athletic side and the academic side. It wouldn't surprise me if he's one that commits this weekend. And they got Zach Swanson, obviously a commit out of Phoenix, Arizona. We've done really well over the last couple of years, obviously with Bijan and Smith in the Arizona area. And then Jacob Sexton, man, a guy from up north in Oklahoma that I know a couple of teams are battling for. And then last minute, you had a big name, man, who, if you would have asked me when we did our last live, Jeremy, would I see him making it to the 40 acres? I definitely did, man. And that's Harold Perkins out of South Park, number 14th player in the nation, according to the 247 Composite, number 1 linebacker, and then number 4 player in the state. And Mike Roach put something out a little earlier when he was talking about, these official visits. And it sounds like that these coaches are trying to bring all the 22 guys in for official visits earlier, during the summer versus having them in the fall, man, because I think they want to focus strictly on football. Now it's different, obviously having a guy show up, get him a ticket and get him to the game, but I think they want to focus on football in the fall, and they want to focus on recruiting right now. You want to add something to that, Jeremy?
I did. Talking about Jacob Sexton and Cole Hudson, two linemen. Again, you chronicled it at the beginning of this podcast. We kind of talked about it in the last couple. Offensive line help, offensive line depth, the 2022 class. You got 2 guys right here. One from Oklahoma, and like when you said, from Frisco. Sebastian Cheeks, I did read something a little bit different. You said Notre Dame and Texas. From what I understand, it was a Notre Dame, Michigan, Texas. And the reason why UNC, he actually visited UNC last week was because Michigan and Notre Dame had kind of fumbled the football, for lack of a better word. And like you said, if Texas can show him everything on the academic side and the football side that he wanted to see, there's possibility that it was a UNC in Texas race, and Texas could close the deal this weekend with a good visit. And like you said, most of those guys are out-of-staters, minus Cole Hudson. So we talked about on our last podcast, trying to get the guys who are out of state before the school starts in the fall to get these guys official visits to campus while travel is easier because, like I said, they're out of school. But I like what you just said in totality is that regardless of location, let's get as many guys in here during the summer, because once we kick off for real against Louisiana, we're concentrating on the roster that we currently have. And not that, like you said, I think you're going to lead in with, the guys can continue to come as they see fit, but concentration is going to be on Saturday and then building that team for the next Saturday.
Biggest thing, man, you're talking about, Sebastian Cheeks and having to compete against North Carolina, man, and Mac Brown. Obviously, we know he's a hell of a recruiter, man. And he's not just going to let this guy, go by the wayside without a fight, So that's a Mac Brown, Texas fight, Sarkeesian fight for Sebastian Cheeks, a hell of a linebacker out of Illinois. And then obviously in the 22 class, you're also talking about Cam Dewberry, supposed to be looks like supposed to be on the 40 acres on Saturday. But of big names, man, the big names for me is you're looking at the 23 class, man. You probably got some of the best football players across the country coming into Austin for the weekend as far as 23s go. And you're talking about probably the biggest name of all, Arch Manning. It's funny because you watched ESPN, a few days ago, they were doing a spot on Arch Manning. Could he be better than his uncles, man? And that's crazy to think that someone hasn't started their junior year is always already getting pub from ESPN as far as recruit goes. But it's going to be like that, man. And then Ruben Owens, obviously a commit to the University of Texas, and Jonte Cook out of our alma mater of DeSoto are three big names, man, to look out for this weekend as far as the 23 go. Yeah,
so I'm going to go back real quick and talk 22 because we brought up Harold Perkins, and you always talk about our 4 or 5 can't miss from 22. And 3 of those guys on my can't miss list, I don't know what yours looks like, but mine is Devon Campbell, Kelvin Banks, Bryce Anderson, and Harold Perkins. Those first 3 you were going to get on campus. They showed an interest in the university, and you have a chance to recruit them. Like you said a little bit earlier, Harold Perkins was that 4th guy that's always been on my list that I felt like could really be a class changer. And now, like you said, he's coming to campus. Talking about 23, I made a little note here, talking about Arch Manning and his potential. But I think with Ruben Owens, Arch Manning, you have 2 guys that could be the best at their position. Currently, like you talked about, Jonte Cook, but as well as Jonte Cook, you have Hale Tate and Jalen Hale. Those could quite possibly be the 3 best wide receivers in the 23 class when all this thing is said and done. So talking about him being the quarterback and what his potential is, you put those kind of weapons around him. Talking about Ruben Owens, Hale Tate, Jonte Cook, and Hale out of Longview, and then a guy we were able to meet and talk to, Ashton Kozar from North Richland Hills. That's quite a group of wide receivers that Arch, if he decided to come to UT, would have an opportunity to work with.
Absolutely, man. That offensive side of the ball there is definitely big time, man. But then you're talking about, obviously Jordan Renaud out of Louisville, Anthony Hill, the edge rusher out of Denton Ryan. We've done really, really good as far as getting guys in from Denton Ryan. And then you're talking about Malik Muhammad, who's a cornerback out of Braden, Florida IMG Academy. And then somebody that's obviously has somebody on 40 acres at this particular point in Dalton Brooks there as an athlete. I think they see him on the defensive side of the ball as well. And then Peyton Bowen, the safety out of Denton Guyer, man. So it's got a mix and match of both offensive and defensive guys from the 23 class there this weekend. But again, to me, and I want to kind of go back and talk about this a little bit, people have, on social media have talked about these photos, man, or the lack thereof, the all gas, no brakes and the barrels and all these other things, the lights and stuff. I can tell you that that is not a major concern for me. the major concern for me is, can these coaches talk to these student athletes, to these kids, man, and get them to understand why they need to come to the University of Texas. That's what's big, man. They're going to forget the photos. They're going to forget all those things. A lot of photos you see anyway are snapshots from friends, families, people. Hey, do you mind taking a photo of me, whatever the case may be? So you're actually not seeing the produced photo is. Those are just photos that randomly get popped up on those social media feeds, but you see it a lot. But that's not something that's big to me. Can these coaches close the deal with these football players and tell them or explain to them why it's important that they come to the University of Texas and what the University of Texas can offer them? I kind of want to go back real quick to Harold Perkins for a minute, back to this 22 class. I know we kind of go back and forth here, but you were asking me what my can't miss guys are, and I would probably Denver Harris would probably be one of them. Bryce Anderson would probably be another. Devon Campbell, and then obviously Harold Perkins, and probably a Kelvin Banks, man, because of the offensive line. But you can't. But those five guys, man, in the state of Texas is talent rich as it is this year, man, having some of the best players across the country. Those five guys right there are probably the can't miss guys for me moving forward in this recruiting class.
Yeah, and that was a glaring omission for me. That's a top 10 player in the country, Denver Harris. So, yeah, that would definitely be my fifth. Campbell, Banks, Anderson, Perkins, and then Denver Harris.
Yeah, so I think we're matched.
I did want to go back and touch on the 23 class real quick because we kind of skipped over Jordan Renaud, again, a kid from Louisville, top 20 player in the 23 class. I got a chance to watch film of Harris Sewell, the offensive lineman from Odessa Permian. That guy's an absolute mauler in the run game. So to have him on campus, I think he has nothing but potential to earn that fifth star as he goes into his senior year. Malik Muhammad is actually a South Oak Cliff DeSoto a guy who currently plays at IMG Academy. And again, that's why it's a big deal that you get a guy like Hale Tate, who's currently the best receiver in the 23 class, is a teammate of Malik Muhammad's. Malik Muhammad is originally from Texas. So guys that went out to IMG Academy who are originally from that Dallas area. And then, like you said, Dalton Brooks, who again, brother Doug and him won a state championship last year at Shiner, and a cousin of Jonathan Brooks, the current running back. So, and then Jaquez Petway is another guy who's rapidly going up to 247 composite. So a lot of weapons going to be on the 40 acres this week. Again, a lot of spotlight's going to be given on Arch Manning and Reuben Owens, and it should be, because again, I think these guys could be the best at their position for 23. Just gotta sell, like you said, the coaches got to sell to these kids the rationale for coming to the University of Texas and how great this program can be.
So let's talk about this real quick, man, because I pulled up the Composite 247 from 23, right? And so you're talking about Anthony Hill currently going to be there this weekend. Jalen Hale, who was there today, which would have been Friday and Thursday. I think he came in to the University of Texas and spent some quality time with the coaches there. David Hooks, who we seen last week, has been there. Reuben Owens. This is the top 10. Reuben Owens, Jordan Renaud, number 5, sent to number 5, and then Petaway at number 6. Will be there this weekend. Javion Tombino, I know he's a guy out of Arlington Martin. I don't know if he's going to be there this weekend, but I know he's got plans to be there here in the near future there at the school. And then Jamie Greathouse, same thing, man. He's there in the Austin area. I know he visited Texas, I believe Thursday and Friday, which would have been the 9th and 10th of June. And then obviously Dalton Brooks and Jonte Cooks, man. That's your top 10, man. So if you've literally had everybody in there, minus probably Javian Taviano from Arlington Martin, who I think may have been on campus before, if I'm not mistaken, but will be there in the future. That tells you where they want to be at, man. Let's get in there and see where it goes, man. But I can tell you that it wouldn't surprise me if we didn't pick up maybe a 23 commit this weekend as well in someone. Really, really, really excited. So. Yeah, nothing but. Again, well, like you said, you got to be tied into 247. They got a big board. Our guy Mike Roach is still putting in updates. Twitter's the place that you're going to see a little bit of action. Photos probably coming out. Just excited to see where this thing goes. Again, glad that these kids are getting the opportunity to visit schools that they're interested in spending 4 years of their post high school education.
and possibly being a student athlete in Austin, Texas. But let's close the deal on some of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. One other note, man, Bryce Anderson, who obviously visited the school out east last week, and I think some people were concerned about what was going on in his recruitment. Looks like he will be in on the 14th to 15th of June. I think that's Monday and Tuesday, and that's just an unofficial visit prior to his official visit, which is going to happen here, I think, later in the month. So it's nice to get him in there twice. To see, obviously see the campus. So I don't really have much concern there. I know there was a lot of concern him coming out of the Texas A&M visit, but I don't think there's so much to be concerned with that at this particular point, kind of where we stand now. But hey, it's going to be an exciting weekend on the 40, man. Like I said, keep your head on the swivel. Keep your eyes glued into whatever social media site you're on. We just wanted to kind of do a segue on who's going to be there and who they are and where they're from and where they look, where they're at as far as on the big board and the composite. Anything to add before we let them go, Jeremy?
No, man, just excited to get this weekend started. You'll probably see us a couple more times, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we got some shows lined up we're going to do over the next few days. So we appreciate you listening as always. As always, you can find us on Twitter at TX Football Talk, on Facebook at Texas Football Talk, and on Instagram at Texas Football Talk. Appreciate you listening. Please hit that like button. If you'd like to comment, please comment your can't miss recruits in the 2022 class. We'd like to see those lists as well. And if you have not hit that subscribe button, please hit that subscribe button. And as always, hook 'em.
Hook 'em.